Lila, Lila is travelling with the goddess Saraswati, and they're visiting the new incarnation of Lila's recently departed husband, King Padma. And the king, although it's his recent incarnation, it turns out it's towards the end of his life. He's 70 and there's a dreadful battle going on and he's about to die. And Saraswati has, in the midst of this, Saraswati's actually been telling him what the situation is in terms of who he is and who he's been and the nature of reality. Saraswati said, "O king, you shall die in this war, and then you will regain your previous kingdom. After your death in this body, you will come over to the previous city with your daughter and your ministers. We too shall go now as we came, and all of you will of course follow us in due course, for the nature of the motion of a horse, an elephant and a camel is different." Lila and Saraswati are doing some kind of astral projection. Vasistha continued, "Even as Saraswati was saying this to the king, a royal messenger rushed in to announce that the enemy forces had entered the capital and was destroying it. There was an incendiary raid in progress, and the entire city was ablaze. The two ladies, the king and his ministers, moved to a window to witness that dreadful scene." I suspect there's quite an extended scene here of destruction. The translator reckons that there's quite an astonishing similarity between what's described here and modern warfare and bombing of civilians. So he makes little possible suggestions here about what's actually going on, because it does sound quite modern. "Looting of the city had commenced, and the robbers were yelling fiercely everywhere. The entire city was enveloped in dense smoke. Fire was raining from the sky. Anti-aircraft missiles described half-moon shaped flaming streaks in the sky. Heavy rock-like missiles, bombs, were falling on the houses, destroying them and the roads around. The king and the others heard the pitiable cries of the citizens. Everywhere there was weeping and wailing, the heart-rending cries of women and children. Someone was crying, 'Oh dear, this woman has lost her mother, her father, brother and her little infant. Though she has not perished, the tragedy of her life is burning her heart.' Another shouted, 'Get out of that house quickly, it's about to collapse.' Yet another, 'Look, bombs and weapons rain into every house.' Missiles were raining like the downpour that precedes cosmic dissolution. All the trees around the houses had been burnt, and the whole place looked desolate. What looked like elephants had been propelled into the air from the battlefield, and they were raining fire on the city. And there were roadblocks everywhere. Bound by attachment, men tarried in burning houses looking for their wives and children. Even women of the royal household were being dragged about by the invading soldiers. Weeping and wailing, these noble ladies did not know what to do. They cried, 'Alas, who will help us in this terrible situation?' And they were surrounded by soldiers. Such is the glory of sovereignty, kingdoms and empires." Vasistha continued, "In the meantime the queen arrived there. The lady in waiting announced her to the king. She said, 'Your Majesty, all the other ladies of the harem have been violently dragged away by the enemy. From this indescribable calamity that has befallen us, only your Majesty can redeem us.'" So the king is watching this carnage. Saraswati and Queen Lila, from his previous incarnation, are there as well. The king bowed to Saraswati and excused himself. I shall myself go to the battlefront, O goddess, to deal with the enemy, and this my wife will wait upon you during that time. The enlightened Lila, so Lila is the queen who was travelling with Saraswati. She's now described as the enlightened Lila because she knows what the score is. The enlightened Lila was amazed to see that the queen was a complete replica of herself. She asked Saraswati, "O divinity, how is it that she is exactly what I am? Whatever I was in my youth, she is now. What is the secret of this? Also, all these ministers, etc., who are here, are the same that were there in our palace. If they are but a reflection of the objects of our fancy, are they sentient, and are they also endowed with consciousness?" Saraswati replied, "O Lila, whatever vision arises within oneself, that is immediately experienced. Consciousness as subject itself becomes, as it were, the object of knowledge. When in consciousness the image of the world arises, at that very instant it becomes so. Time, space, duration, and objectivity do not arise from matter, for then they would be material. What is reflected in one's consciousness shines outside also, or appears to shine outside. What is regarded as the real objective world experienced in the waking state is no more real than that experienced during sleep or dream. During sleep, the world does not exist, as far as the dreamer is concerned. And during the waking state, the dream does not exist. Even so, death contradicts life. While living, death is non-existent. And in death, life is non-existent. Because that which holds together either experience is absent in the other.